Okay, thank you. Welcome everybody. We are on SME BizChat 2020 webinar. It is, I'm really excited to be here today. My name is Shireen and I will be a moderator today. I'm the ED of Better Calvary South and founder of Business and Pen. And I'm so excited to be with a powerful three men here today. We're talking about embracing the new normal with financial aids and business digitalization. So welcome, Mr. Lim Ki Yong, Executive Director from Enterprise Banking, AFFINBANK. We have Hi, and we have Encik Muhammad Firdaus bin Azharuddin, CEO of InScan. And we have Mr. Yo Seng Hui, Honorary National Secretary of Samantha.
Yeah, hello, hi.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. And again, our topic is embracing the new normal with financial aids and digitalization. We have 1 hour. And let's just go ahead to our first question for all of our panelists today. What would, in your opinion, be the main challenges faced by SME businesses during this period? Let's begin with Mr. KY.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I think this question has been asked many times, and for that matter, most SME will probably know it. But I think as we move forward, we can learn from each other. Now, in my view, naturally, the foremost important thing is cash flow. I think without cash flow, nothing moves. Whether it's inflow or outflow, in a positive or negative way. So that being the case, so anywhere to me, anywhere between 20 to 40% SME globally, probably we have a cash flow problem based on some statistics. And they were based on the cash flow they have, they are unlikely to able to hang on to more than 6 to 9 months. That was the statistics, I think, published everywhere in the media. That is being the main issue. To me, other things secondary, but equally disruptive are things like supply chain issues. We have customers that are unable to get their source of resources or their source of supplies, so unable to produce their products or unable to deliver to the customers. They may also have workforce issue in the event their workforce got reduced, or for that matter, their workforce got unnecessary disruption because of COVID as an infectious disease onto the workforce. And to me, I'll probably add this all up, other than cash flow, I would term it as fulfillment issues. So you're able to take orders, you want to take orders, but you know they're unable to fulfill. So that itself is a generic term I will use for most SMEs. Not an easy way to put it in. I think it's quite a challenging situation. Knowing that there's a business there, I can't get my resources, I can't get my workers to produce, or for that matter, I don't have enough workers to produce, and I cannot fulfill the order. So as it is, it's a fulfillment issue as a whole. Within which there will be one part of the SMEs, to me, they will have a digitalization problem. They are not ready. They have not moved themselves into that mode to make them accessible to more digital fulfillment approach. So these are the collective matters. I think none of them are easy to be solved. For that matter, to me, it's a matter of how we all can help each other in various organizations or various ways of dealing with this situation right now. That's my view, my 2 cents. Over to you, Shireen.
Thank you so much. That was really, really powerful. I think a lot of SMEs out there are really, really looking for options right now. And maybe Mr. Yo from Samantha, you can give some insights into these questions.
Yeah, thanks, Shireen. As what KY has talked about, I think he has outlined the major factors: cash flow, supply chain, workforce, and fulfillment. I think just to add on is what is most pressing amongst especially the SMEs is a couple of things. One is, of course, orders or sales revenue. The lockdown and the recent CMCO has made things worse. I think you've been reading in the papers that, because even working from home, that has affected demand for whether it's F&B shops or even your kopitiams or coffee shops around. So a lot of these small and micro enterprises depends on this retailing kind of business. Of course, there's this shift towards digitalization in terms of online businesses. But I think the major constraint faced by especially the B2Cs for SMEs is I still want to hop on the fulfillment factor, because many of them would like to do it. You know, it's easy to be on Shopee and all those things, but or Lazada or whatever. But the key issues are basically how do you handle the back end fulfillment? Because B2C means like, you know, very, very tiny, small orders. So although they would like to go on board, but the picking and packing and stuff like that is going to be a huge deterrence for them. Yeah? So these are things which hopefully, you know, the government together with the bigger players, like, you know, whether it's Alibaba or the rest, there could be some logistics hubs which can actually help to facilitate the back end process. I think these are things which would help in case you have an extension of the lockdown period. You know, the other things, of course, is always cash flow. What they are actually facing right now, and uh, they would still be depending on hopefully some, you know, as what I think KY has mentioned also, and I think Bank Negara, MOF has also talked about, is that if there can be some relaxation, although it's targeted, whereby you give them the opportunity to renegotiate or restructure, reschedule the loan. So that gives them the breathing room that they need now, you know, for those who are viable, who are able to tide through this period. So I think two main factors, the rest are of course still relevant, but would be your inflow, your cash inflow comes from your sales and your orders, you know. Otherwise, there's nothing to manage. Yeah. So I think that's crucial in times like this. Yeah.
In times like this, yes, of course. And being in Samantha, there's a lot of members that are also experience this
Sure.
challenges with all. Maybe you can share with us perhaps one or two examples that is really something that can help our viewers today in regards to dealing with our situation.
Okay. Well, if you're talking about, I think from the cash flow side, I think they are looking at reducing the costs. Okay, because if you have no control on the inflow side in terms of revenue, because that depends on the sales that comes in. But what you can manage and control is basically your costs. So many of them who are able to increase their chances of survival during this period is to try to reduce your costs as much as possible. You know, and always talked about the conversion of fixed to variable costs if you can. So a lot of them, like if they can eliminate or reduce the fixed costs and try to convert that into variable costs, that would help, because due to the uncertainties, you don't want to have so much fixed costs in times like this. You know? Yeah.
Powerful insight. Thank you, Mr. Tuan Firdaus. From your perspective, what do you think would be the main challenges as InScan does a lot of coaching work with a lot of entrepreneurs? What would be the challenges faced by SMEs during this time?
Well, it's a bit difficult for us to just generalize entrepreneurs as online. There's varying levels of them. Okay. One of the most common things that we saw early enough during even in March and April was we kept saying this to entrepreneurs. For you to move forward during this MCO, one of the most important things that you need to do is actually to relook at your business model. Because a lot of them were operating on business models like, you know, that was mentioned, that had fulfillment procedures that could no longer be counted on. You know, that suppliers that, you know, could not be counted on during the MCO. So the first thing we asked everyone to do was please relook back at your business model. Okay, I hate to sound academic about it, but, you know, go back to your business model canvas, your BMC. Right. 9 boxes in the BMC, right? Are they still correct during these times? And as we go through the different phases of the MCO, we got a PKP, A, B, C, and all these things. You have to relook at your business model at every juncture.
Right.
And I think that you know, that's as a step number one. So you really need to understand the playing field. I think as an entrepreneur, if you don't understand the playing field, right, it's so easy for you to get wrapped up with a lot of issues that could not even be within your control in the first place. You know, I think I sense a lot of entrepreneurs, right? They're worried about what the government will do, what other people will do, but they are not concentrating on things that they can control. You know, so for example, switching your service provider, looking for alternative production sites. Those are the key things that they need to do. Checking whether your basic assumption of your customers are still there or not, and during MCO, where do your customers switch to? Did they go to Shopee? Did they go to Lazada? Did they go to WhatsApp? So on and so forth. So this has been the mantra that we have been enforcing to all of the entrepreneurs that we meet over the last 7 to 8 months.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think that's a really key word that you mentioned, the playing field. But I think maybe a lot of entrepreneurs, they kind of like overlook, and they're so panicky looking forward, and they forget to take a step back and really look at what is in the environment and what they can manage. I mean, like, we have bankers that can support them. Instead of running to bankers, they go run away for bankers, right? So right, so there's a lot of support can also come from organizations like Samantha. Yeah, that's a very good input. Thank you so much. And what do you think from your roles as at the helm of your organization? How can you help the SME community in Malaysia during the current, we always call it the challenging time. I would like to say the exciting time, it's like a lot of possibility can happen, right? And how do you think SME can benefit from each of your institutions, from AFFINBANK, from InScan, and from Samantha? Let's go with AFFINBANK first.
Okay, I think as a bank, by now, most businesses or individuals with borrowing, most banks will be offering targeted assistance. The approach, the term used by used nationally. I think for a start, AFFINBANK is offering a program called FAIR, Financial Assistance and Installment Relief, FAIR program. So it is I think regardless of the plan, I think most organizations are seeking the assistance, quote unquote, for customers or borrowers to come forward. We're more than happy to help. Instead of last minute, being Malaysian, we always like last minute. Okay, that's not very nice given the current circumstances. Come early, then we still have time. And then for that matter, I think the assistance will be provided throughout until at least middle of next year. Come forward to the bank. Let's talk about how do you re-op your payment, how to restructure your loans, or for that matter, how we can further potentially lend you a little bit more for you to turn around. So these are the options available. From bank perspective, that is a financial part or a tangible part. We have also a couple of programs collaboratively with our partners as well as ourselves on the path to digitalization. We work with few business partners, or we call Rakan Niaga, who can offer some sort of a promotion or discount when you go to their platform. So that is all those available on our platform called SME Colonies, which is an app you can download, inside of which you can get all these offers and all this guidance for businesses to look at it. So those are the path at least we provided as far as the bank is concerned. And within the app itself, also we have other offers, like we call it Workforce, and this is where we provide whatever assistance we can during this time to the SMEs in the market. Now, having said all these things, the biggest help, I suppose, other than financial and some of these referrals, are webinars such as such. I think we are trying to give out as far most information as possible to the public, be it borrowing or non-borrowing, and be it for those interested to jump into the path of entrepreneurship. This is where we all learn from each other. A lot of things I learned from Samantha and InScan, so that and Shireen yourself as well, being a serial entrepreneurs. Okay, so we like to learn as well, and then from there we get knowledge, we improve, then we package something and we give it out. So that is from bank perspective, not just borrowing, but some advisory, some referral, as well as a path for digitalization. So we like to call ourselves a little bit more than just typical bankers from those days. So banking now is very different. So it's more very much a financial, tangible, intangible, as well as advisory. So hopefully that part itself can motivate the entrepreneurs and all of us here moving forward to come to the bank and talk about it. And then we're more than happy to link it up with InScan as well as Samantha. So as a group, we all can help the SMEs more holistically and more meaningfully.
That sounds really, really interesting. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, I'm from BNI, and we talk a lot about entrepreneurship. So this is really, really exciting for me to listen. That bankers are doing a whole lot more than just giving financial assistance. There's a lot of other things. I heard you say SME colony,
yeah, exactly,
AFFINBANK, a lot. That is really, really exciting. So something to look forward to, and for us to pay you a visit, AFFINBANK.
Yeah, please, please.
Yes. So moving to Samantha. Samantha, what would be your what would the things that you would like to extend to our entrepreneurs and SMEs in these trying times?
Well, basically, as a trade association, our support has been mainly on two major areas. One is, of course, like what KY mentioned, is on the information dissemination, trying to enable some of these SMEs or members to be more aware of what's out there, like whether there are grants or incentives or support that are available. Because sometimes it gets all messed up when there's too much information out there, And the other area would be like for us to give them some comfort in terms of to provide feedback, So this is where the surveys comes in, so that we can feel the pulse of what's going on in their businesses. Then we can actually help to collate this information and channel it to the right organizations like MITI, Bank Negara, and other ministries, because they would need this kind of snapshots in terms of the information, so that we will help them to formulate certain policies or to provide certain support programs. So I think these are some of the things that we have been focusing on, especially during this period. In fact, at the state level, we also engage very closely with some state governments to design certain special incentive schemes, which are like in the case of Penang, they had the zero interest PERCA scheme, which were basically to help SMEs as well. So I think this is where our role as a trade body and association, because we get this multiple and various feedback, so we're able to channel the relevant information to the government body, so that they can then come up with more constructive and more effective programs and policies. Yeah. So I think this would be the main areas for a trade body. Unfortunately, we are not like KY. We can't dish out the funds directly to help our members.
Yeah, but we work with Samantha.
We do work closely with.
That's where we all work together. Then we
exactly.
can do something in the market.
Exactly. So these kind of webinars, and in fact, another area which we did engage, actively is to look into the new norm where digital marketplaces come into the picture. So this is where we are hoping that the SMEs can come together, trade among themselves, create new business opportunities through digital marketplaces. Since it's sometimes with the MCO and or the CMCO that has curtailed or affected face-to-face interaction. So we are also trying to do our part to try to facilitate this kind of trade transactions. Yeah.
Awesome. So Samantha is like a bridge.
We try to serve as a bridge, correct? Yeah,
Fantastic.
Exactly.
Yeah. So entrepreneurs out there, he has his he's really reminding you guys to go to samanthaonline.com. It's clear behind there, So please go ahead and check out Samantha Online and see what they can properly support you where you are today, and see how far we can move together as SMEs and collaborate.
Sure. Thanks.
And go through these challenges together. Yeah. So instead, I'm so interested to know how what are the programs available, your coaching programs you're saying that is really geared towards supporting entrepreneurs today. So would you like to share with us some of those programs you have?
Okay, I think the first thing that we did, well, we took one day off for the MCO. Okay, exactly one day off. And during that one day, we looked at what's happening on social media, the entrepreneurs that we were following, and it was dead silent on that first day. And that really got us worried because there was no talk at all online about what's going on and so on and so forth. So we made a conscious decision then that okay, we need to get people to start talking to each other. Okay, because if everyone just huddles themselves inside their homes during the first few days of MCO, it's really going to be depressing for a lot of people. So starting from second day in itself, we started doing our FB live sessions up to even 3 times a day. And we had so many people who volunteered their time to appear and talk during these live sessions. Even entrepreneurs, Malaysians working in the US, we brought in banks to come and talk. We brought in SOCSO, we brought in LHDN, EPF to come in. We even had a little bit of a spiritual talk that was going on. Anything just to make sure that people felt that they were not alone in trying to solve the problem that they were going through. So that's step number one. We just stopped doing our FB live sessions last month, and we actually clocked in almost 700,000 views on our FB live during that period. The second thing that we did was, which is something that I never thought InScan would do, is we immediately went into the online mode for all of our training programs. Every single training program that we have, we switched over to online. We were the first few to buy Zoom, despite people saying that it's not safe. You lose your money in your bank account if you use Zoom. If you remember rumors during those days. We bought our Zoom account and stuff like that. Then we switched over to online training, and we offered 10 ringgit classes online. Okay, and they were sold out, meaning registered within 15 minutes of every time we opened the class, in terms of online registration. And what were the topics that we were doing on online classes was FB ads, Instagram sales, WhatsApp sales, things that everybody was rushing to find out what to do. Total training that we've done during the MCO period over the last few months, we've trained almost 6,500 entrepreneurs in various aspects of entrepreneurship, especially on how to sell online. Okay, because we find there's a lot of confusion. People just give the general statement and say, I want to sell online. But when you ask them what platform they want to sell on, that's when they get stuck. Okay, so we help them to figure that out too. The third thing that we do is our coaching programs. We had a very active coaching program prior to the MCO, which is based on industry. We have 11 industries that we run coaching programs on: spa, laundry, barbershop, so on and so forth. What we did was we continued those coaching programs even during the MCO, but it acted more like a support group for the entrepreneurs. So we opened it up. All other people who even didn't register earlier just come in and join this group, whereby you can just come in every other day. The coach will come in into the Zoom session, and all the entrepreneurs will come in and they just start talking about the problems that they're having on the ground. We actually find this to be very powerful. If people from the same industry started sharing what they were doing on the different corners of the country, right? Then like you said earlier, Shireen, they start getting ideas about how they can move. Because being entrepreneurs, right? You're designed to push the envelope. Okay. Yeah, you're designed to push the envelope. And if you find somebody else who pushed the envelope even harder and then found out that it was working, right? Wow, And those are the things that we wanted to do, was coaching programs to inspire others, so that because the things that you hear coming from TV3 and the media is things you cannot do. It's not things that you can do. All right. So the entrepreneurs want to hear, okay, what exactly can I do? So those coaching sessions really help. And after the MCO was a bit more relaxed, we converted them back to our more traditional coaching programs, whereby we had coaches sent to them. We actually track the coaches throughout the MCO program, how many have dropped out, how many have not dropped out, and we're seeing quite a good percentage of those who are still in business. We also have a very active program that we're running right now, which is the e-boarding program. We just finished processing 250 entrepreneurs, whereby we take them from zero of online sales into actual count, actual selling online through the various platforms. So it's a 3-month coaching program. We just graduated the first batch. 217 out of 250 graduated the program, and their first 2 months numbers saw a 20% increase in their sales. So that's very good. Of course, the sales numbers that entrepreneurs report to us tend to be lower than actual. They will never give a higher number. Our friends at LHDN who are monitoring.
Takut dekat lembaga.
Yeah, or the lembaga who's monitoring the session, right? So whenever when I see a number that's 20%, right, most likely looking at about 30 to 40%. They would always undervalue their achievements. So it's our way of trying to help entrepreneurs who want to go into online sales but don't know how and fear the cost factor. You know, a lot of them think that they actually need to buy a mainframe to go to sell online. You know, so those are the things that we've been doing.
So it would be fair to say that moving towards digitalization, InScan is the go-to place lah. Like I'm really happy to hear that you said that, you know, you started off by making sure that entrepreneurs are not feeling alone, and I'm really happy to hear that there's a lot of volunteers as well coming from all across the globe coming back. So I feel that there's a lot of resources, a lot of people out there willing to give a helping hand, and glad to know that we have this can-do attitude. You know, instead of listening to what's on TV, where we can go to InScan and do more and be more can-do.
Yeah. Wait, Shireen, just to add on, in fact, we provide loans to entrepreneurs, particularly to startups. For those who actually, whether you are making a decision to start out, I think regardless of the time, that is one way to look at it. I think I'm very glad to hear Dr. Daus is saying that kind of training. You asked me where to sell digital, I also don't know how to go and get it started. So I think that is the good platform, which I think we complement. And hence, I mean, this kind of webinar is like complement each other in getting the information that we need collectively.
Right. Fantastic.
Yeah.
So before I go to our next question, for all of you out there who are listening in, do go ahead and click on the share and share this webinar so that more entrepreneurs will benefit from this webinar. And if you have any questions, just go ahead and plonk those questions in their Facebook, and we will try and answer your questions as we go along the program. Yeah. So don't be shy. Don't be shy. Just ask the questions. Yeah.
Can I add something here?
Boleh tuan.
It's a bit funny because before the MCO started, we actually went on this nationwide tour of almost 10 cities in Malaysia, whereby we held one-day seminars asking everybody to harness the power of their customer database. That was a topic that we picked because we felt that, you know, telling people IR 4.0 is very cliche. You know, for a small entrepreneur, what's IR 4.0? You know, they start imagining robots doing deliveries and stuff like that. So to bring it down to the micro entrepreneur, then we looked at the topic of, okay, customer database. How do you collect it? How do you harness the power of it, you know, and use it for your marketing and so on and so forth. So odd enough that when MCO came, right, that was the one thing that really saved a lot of entrepreneurs. The fact that they had their customer database available in their hands, or minimum on their handphones, because when all of us couldn't get out of the house, right? How do you sell to people, right? You sell people, and the number one sales was actually WhatsApp, right? They were WhatsApping each other and offering services, and those who did not have phone numbers, right? Only then did they realize that the importance of it. Now, even after this MCO, right? While this MCO was going on, before the PKPB was announced for Klang Valley, I spoke to a lot of entrepreneurs and said, "What's your preparation in case we have a lockdown again?" You know, and I asked them the same question again: Have you collected back your customer database or not? Because if you're locked back again, right, you're going to go through the same cycle whereby you still don't know who to call and how to contact. You know, so I think if there is a learning for a lot of our entrepreneurs right now, right, do not underestimate the customer database that you have. that book that everybody was writing when they go into the shop, right, with the name and phone number, right, is very powerful now.
Yeah, definitely database is king right now, right? A lot of businesses who do a lot of ad hoc now have to actually start thinking about collecting all their database and not just touch and go.
Shareen, just to you know, just to add on a little bit is that I'm glad that we hear from people like Encik Firdaus, because you know, he's given us some good practical tips and pointers, you know, and this is especially relevant to the, you know, those smaller entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs. I think this is where, you know, they will be able to access you know, some of this information, and then hopefully make full use of the services provided. So this is where, you know, because for us and as an association, we play a different role, but I mean, you have this kind of institutes as well as the banks, and this is where, like what we were talking about just now, how we can complement each other, you know, in terms of helping to nurture and develop SMEs.
Definitely. I'm really hopeful that a lot of people are logging in and listening to this. Lots of powerful nuggets. Yeah. So now that we're talking about going digital, and we've heard a lot of conversations about it, what would be, in your opinion, you know, as masters in your areas of expertise, would be the solutions that businesses can look at transforming their business currently offline to online to both increase the efficiency and improve customer experience?
Maybe I get let me kickstart this. I think just relate back what the Firdaus was mentioning just now, the collecting of the database. It's coincidentally I written some articles on it, but this is really helpful. In fact, not just about collecting them, using them wisely, not just for sales, even just for update of businesses. What is the status? Am I open today? Am I open next week? And these kind of things. This kind of thing we provide customer a little bit more confidence, but of course don't over bombard it. Over bombard it becomes a scam. You go into a spam mail. So these are things. But I mean, into the digitalization, the point Shareen you're mentioning, I think that's where most of SMEs struggle a little bit, whether they end up, what am I supposed to do? What do you mean by digitalization? All these things. So don't get overly worried. I think that's one point to note. I think Iskay had brought up, and Firdaus had brought up some really good point in how do you move from online, from physical to digital, or somehow or other you have a mixture or hybrid of these two, or people call it phygital right now. It's a new term being used. Okay, so
what was that? Phygital?
Phygital, PHY, phygital. So Google is a new word. I'm learning also this past 6 months. Phygital. So you have both physical and digital. So, but the physical is a little bit of a digital inside. So getting a little bit fancy right now. So let's go on a little bit on transitional, how you move from physical to digital slowly and progressively. I give you one good example. I have a friend of mine, for that matter, they operate a business which is having 5 floors. Now, because of this MCO and CMCO since March, they shrunk the business down to 2 floors. The other 3 floors are practically 100% working from home, and it still is as effective as the rest. And then the cost has come down so much. So that's not entirely digital, but it's going to a transitional digital. So working from home, you require some infrastructure, require some digital setup, and all these things. So you do it progressively. Okay. We have also businesses who actually. I mean, you go to some popular platform, you can set up your shops there. That is one way of doing it. Then maybe you are running 20 retail shops. Can you shrunk it down to 5 or shrunk it down to 10? Then you as your volume increase and all these things. So to me, I call it transitional digital until you are fully ready. Because at the back, you got a lot of infrastructure and fulfillment kind of things that you need to do. So to be collectively, mind you also that you go into digital, you have a lot of fulfillment issues. Which is not typically you can walk into the shop and can settle. So you have to get it ready, whether you have a phone system ready, whether you have an email system ready, whether you have people who can get that kind of infrastructure ready. Otherwise, you're just pissing off a lot more customers than before. So all these things have to be taken into account. So I mean, from the bank perspective, that's my view one way. Of course, again, the few platforms that the bank offer, either through our SME Colony app or AFFINBANK, in terms of how we do our online banking, or these are digital enablers to make things happen. So for entrepreneurs out there, well, don't be shy to ask, whether from the bank, from the trade association, or even government agency like InScan. There are really a lot more venue available. Ask around, what can be worse? I mean, it's sometimes we just get a little bit frustrated because you're talking to too many people, but the lesson learned, even from this short 45 minutes session, I personally learned quite a number of things which can help each other going down the road. So there's a few things from the bank perspective, and then on top of it, we organize things like SME Engage, or which we get entrepreneurs together to teach fellow entrepreneurs to how to do business. That has been quite active in the past. Right now, we do it quite frequently on digitally speaking, and also physically those days. Somehow or other, we have to go digital as well in some way. So, so Samantha has been very helpful in getting that done up north. So in the central and down, we also we work with a few media companies to get things done. For that matter, collectively right now, there's a virtual expo going on, organized by another media company, of which we are a strong supporter of it. We're doing it on a similar manner, having a webinar and teaching, getting engaged with the entrepreneurs, giving our piece of advice and feedback to see what they can do. So these are things we pride ourselves in helping within our scope and capacity. And then what is more important is to work with external party such as InScan and Samantha to get things moving. So hopefully in some way we all help each other in pulling through this tough time.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I love the fact that you said, everything has to be done progressively. No need to panic and jump on the bandwagon.
Hey.
Right?
Yeah, don't just jump.
No need to rush just because everyone's doing it. Sometimes entrepreneurs are like, everyone's on digital, so I panic. I also have to go digital.
Correct.
Samantha, with a lot of members, maybe not all also excited wants to go digital. What would be your advice, or your insight into entrepreneurs and SMEs wanting to go from offline to online?
Yeah, I think that's a very pertinent issue that's confronting SMEs today. Digitalization sometimes has become such a buzzword that many people don't truly understand, as we say, how this whole journey goes about. The easiest, of course, would be for getting them to start selling online. That's what I think most people will be thinking about. But I think that's just one part of it. That's like, say, for someone who is trying to generate sales. Okay, during the lockdown, the obvious thing is to switch because there's lesser face-to-face interaction, or the shops are closed, so they're forced by circumstances to start going online. That's fine. But as what was also commented by the other panelists is that gathering the data is fine. That's the first step. But if you just leave it there and you don't analyze the data, you don't make full use of the data, then it just stops there. It just becomes information that's not being utilized. So I think for a start, things like even simple CRM softwares now, these are not beyond the reach of SMEs today. They're SaaS, where you just pay on a per user basis. So a lot of these things are actually affordable. For manufacturers, I think process transformation itself, I think sometimes people don't really look at, even ERP systems are now more affordable. So these are things, again, it depends on which stage of the digitalization journey you're at now. Some will be just very basic to begin with, Yeah. So I think all this, the good thing is that, you see, even, for example, Martrade has revised the MDG grant to support virtual trade fairs. So right now, this is actually a golden opportunity for SMEs to start looking at. In the past, it is a very costly exercise to be participating in physical trade fairs overseas. As you know, it may cost you
you're right.
30 to 50,000 US dollars just to put up a booth, plus air flights, accommodation, blah blah blah, the whole works now. But today, I mean, you can just go and with a few thousand, you can participate in a virtual trade fair. And you can actually select them by just either looking at the Martrade website, or even from your own research, by just googling some of this information. I mean, so these are the things, and even the telcos themselves, they are also supporting the government's initiative on the market digitalisation grant. So as what someone pointed out earlier is that although the amount may not be so huge, but it's just like for you to try it out as a pilot, because it's a matching grant. And from there, if you find that this is actually useful, it's effective, then you can actually graduate or move further and invest a little bit more into it. So all these things are there. They are available. So the question is that it's for the SMEs to take the initiative to start the journey. At least begin with your single step, so that you can then move forward. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And yes, I totally agree with you that it's currently a buzzword to be digitalized, and everyone's so focused on sales. So Tuan Firdaus, how is InScan? When everyone has to pivot, I'm assuming InScan also has to pivot in terms of supporting the SME. So what would the support system that you are also providing for entrepreneurs and SMEs wanting to go from offline to online?
Okay, like I shared earlier, we've introduced this new program called the eBot program, whereby we'll actually provide training and coaching for entrepreneurs who would like to go into online sales. The first thing that we do in this eBot program is we actually give them a 2 days training program on all the different facets or all the different platforms that they can sell online. Because I think the biggest mistake the entrepreneurs make going online is not really understanding where their customers are online. They think online is online. Okay, they actually have to follow where their customers are virtually, or else they end up landing where other customers are and not their customers. So we do this special 2-day training. Okay, and then based on that training, then they sit down with a coach, and then both will agree, okay, what's the platform that they'll be doing their online sales on, and the choices that they have are WhatsApp, Telegram, FB ads, Instagram, Shopee, Lazada, and so on and so forth. So once they've selected the platform that they're gonna trade in, and then we inject another training on photograph and copywriting. Okay, for a simple thing as taking a good photograph is if very powerful if you want to sell online in the first place. A lot of our entrepreneurs spend money on FB ads and then put very lousy photos on it. So we even go to the extent of actually doing a 2-day class on how to use your smartphone, maximizing it to take great photographs so that you can post it online. And even videos. Videos is another 2-day class. And then there's another 2-day class for just copywriting. Now, based on those training, then we tell them, okay, then you're empowered to go and sell online, okay, utilizing these skills. I really would not recommend people to go selling online unless you have some of these basic skills, because then you would end up, because online is all about getting attention, first glance of the reader. If your posting is not attractive, right, they're not gonna, you lose followers in the first place. So that's when we take them through this process, then they would really understand. And then when you start paying for some of these marketing things that you do, right, then you really get the value out of it. The services that Google runs for you, the services that FB runs for you, whereby you can do targeted marketing, going after customers, so on and so forth. These are the things that I think our entrepreneurs have to learn, okay? But if they get into it, right, so far we've seen very successful attempts going in. What we're seeing right now is prior to the MCO, right, when you spend on FB ads, so on and so forth, you really get good returns. But now after the MCO, your returns are less, but it's still there. It's better. Last time maybe I heard you can get 10 times whatever you put in on FB ads, but now it's reduced somewhat. But it's still money, it's still money. So it's just because the sheer volume of people advertising. A lot of people think, okay, I just want to advertise on FB, but advertising on FB alone is not good enough. Once they click on your FB, right, they need to be redirected to your website.
That's correct. A lot of
Okay.
people
Right,
follow
right,
the
right.
website.
If you don't have a website, right? If you don't have a website, right, you end up, selling on Maybank to you. You know.
Ay, ay.
Salah
Sorry,
bank.
sorry.
AFFINBANK hari ni.
Affin to you version of it. Okay? Because I think our friend from Samantha rightfully pointed this out. A lot of Malaysians think, right, just because they advertise on FB, right, they've gone digital.
Yeah. I
Yes,
think
that's true.
it's a
That's
wrong
true.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So when the customer, at the end of the day, right, PM me, you know, and then they all go physical back again. That means, right, there's a physical transfer going on. Somebody needs to pack the thing and send it to the post laju office, and then it gets to you. And then, by the way, please call me when you get the package. That's not digital. Okay. Well, that's partially digital. Okay. So
Digital. Okay, why
yeah,
is it digital?
digital.
It's digital now.
So I
Right.
would like to echo what was said earlier by my learned colleague from Samantha. The government, right, has been giving out grants for people to go to adopt digital systems. They are very cheap. Okay, well, they are very inexpensive, full suite softwares, right? That has ERP, that's got accounting, that's got stock taking, that's got fulfillment, invoicing, and everything like that, right? That can cost you less than RM1,000 a year subscription. And
They're on
even
cloud. Yeah.
You're on cloud.
cloud-based.
Yeah.
And even then, the government's going to pay for it for you.
Yeah.
You know,
Nice.
yeah.
So we
So
shall go to InScan and find how that's done.
it's actually offered over at MDEC.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I really don't understand why people are not taking the opportunity and taking some of this. You know,
True.
it's one of the reasons, because enterprises, right? If you're not Sendian Berhad, you're not really supposed to keep a full set of accounts, you know, and stuff like that. So there is no hurry for them to do so. But then again, right, you want to make good financial decisions, right? Shouldn't you have some of these numbers available to you?
Of course. Yeah.
So basically, we need to just get to the entrepreneurs to make sure they have their documentation, right? Go back to basics, make sure all the documents are there.
If you don't even know your financial numbers, right, how are you discounting? That's the scary part.
Correct. So this is this is where we're going to go back to AFFINBANK, and we're going to say about financial assistance. Now that we all are in this situation, we want to get some financial assistance. Now we go to AFFINBANK lah. Okay, so AFFINBANK, I'm going to ask you about what are the kind of financial assistance that you will be providing SMEs during this period. But the two viewers today who has a question for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and share those questions. One from Chris Pang and one from Ricky Lee. Thank you so much for being with us today. So Chris Pang is asking, Mr. KY, banks are usually very conservative, he says, in helping SMEs. But since a lot of people start doing new norm business, what is the entry barrier from AFFINBANK for most of new business owners? That's question number one. Yeah. And then question number two from Mr. Ricky Lee. Dear Mr. KY, I got dear Mr. KY. So yeah, if the government is to impose another round of MCO nationwide, what would be the impact to the already struggling retail businesses, and can the banks afford to grant further moratorium? Wow, soalan cepu mas. Okay, so back pass the part to you.
Yeah. Back to the first question. I think the word conservatism is always applies since beginning of time on bankers. But in this particular times, whether we call it conservatism or continuation of banking prudence is a matter of perception. Now, in our case, we do lending to startups. Anywhere from 6-month operation above, you can come, and then we will talk about it from that angle. So, of course, being SMEs, we do appreciate what Tuan Firdaus has mentioning. Please exercise financial discipline, both on your company financials as well as on your personal financials. I think both so equally important for us to assess and see how you can manage the finance correctly. So that is that's our stance, which I think is quite market friendly, I believe. Second, on the moratorium, I won't be able to comment much at this moment in time. I think it's a matter of taking from the authorities and the regulators how we're going to do that. At this moment in time, I don't even want to speculate whether there's another moratorium. That is too big of speculation for me. way above my pay grade. So so we will look at what the authorities describe what is necessary. That's important. I think to your question, Shireen, just now, what kind of assistance we are providing? I think other than what government has earlier provided, the SRF as well as the Penjana funds, of which we have dispersed and processed accordingly. In fact, for that matter, our Penjana was going very fast. We have quite a decent allocation. We finished it in 2 weeks. And going forward down the road, the bank itself, we do have the FAIR program I just mentioned earlier. And then just want to highlight as well, there are quite a number of government fundings under Bank Negara funds as well as from some agency funds available in the market or through the banking systems, not necessarily from or most of it from commercial banks for that matter. And for example, AES and all these things. Banks are open for discussion for this kind of funding, and they are not at the normal commercial rate. They're slightly cheaper. So they are not part of any rescue scheme, but it's part of a development, continuous productivity as well as assistance in terms of business growth. So they are still available. So as a bank, we continue to work very closely. And today we just wrote another scheme together with CGC on the startups, anywhere from 6 months to 36 months, just to roll it out, announced in the paper. So these are the main few things as far as tangible dollars is concerned or tangible ringgit is concerned. Other than that, we have full suite of conventional and Islamic products. And I think more important is the point of being able to provide some form of advisories when customers are coming for financial requests. They see what we can do about it. I think from banker point of view, most people find banker very boring. Okay, so at the end of the day, it's just money. I mean, for that matter, I would love to have a conversation what Tuan Firdaus and Yo is talking about. What is outside the banking system we can help, or which that is more important that collectively it works together as an ecosystem that all this will come to place. So in fact, for that matter, we love to work with BNI and see what we can do more. So from banking point of view, hopefully that helps in some way. There's no end to help, whether grant from either from a government or from a government agency or from private parties. Where we can do, we will try to get it. And I think more importantly, the funding still available in the different options. So hopefully that in some way AFFINBANK can help them.
Awesome. I'm so hopeful all my BNI members are here today. You're listening to this, and then let's have a chit chat with Mr. KY.
Let's arrange.
Post this webinar.
Yeah, I think just to add further to what KY has mentioned, especially on question 2, I think is that the targeted assistance that has been mentioned for those who need further assistance, especially those from the most affected, like tourism and retail, that's actually real. I mean, to be fair to the bankers, I'm not here to defend Affin, but I think, is that if you actually go in and talk to them to reschedule and restructure, they'll be more than willing to give you a listening ear and to help you to see how you can actually work out a suitable plan. So that comes from direct experience with and feedback from our members as well. So it's not that it's just lip service. Actually, just go in and talk to your bankers.
Yeah, we have approved almost 100% of the requests. We have not said no.
Yeah. Fantastic. So we have about 8 minutes. So I just want to quickly get a few more nuggets from you guys. Quickly, Samantha, you just launched Samantha Online. You want to just maybe in a minute share with us what that's about?
Okay, well, Samantha Online is basically a B2B marketplace, which came out because, well, it started during this lockdown period because we felt that the necessity was there. So we actually worked with another entity which already had an existing B2B marketplace called Everest. So we're able to piggyback on that using their platform, and this will enable the SMEs to actually post their products, to start to trade with each other through a digital platform. And again, like what was mentioned, you can also apply for the so-called the market digitalization grant, which will defray some of this cost as well. So So basically, we're hoping that with this platform, SMEs can come on board, they can trade with each other, and of course, later on, maybe we would like to even provide some hookups or linkages with the bigger multinationals who are the buyers as well. So I think this creates an opportunity for or platform for the members to and SMEs to come on board and basically create trading opportunities so that they can actually facilitate trade transactions amongst each other.
Fantastic. Maybe BNI can talk to Samantha in a minute.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, we have a few more minutes. So quickly, maybe 2 minutes each, and for all the organizations in this room today, can share with us what are the future plans in catering to SMEs needs in the new normal, and go ahead also share how the SMEs can connect with you, contact you for your contact information. Let's go with AFFINBANK first.
Well, we continue to enhance our digital capabilities. I think from a banking perspective, we are going to roll out over the next 6 months a few exciting digital tools, including from our consumer banking side or community banking side. As a bank, so there are a couple of things coming out, including it's under wrap right now. So hopefully over the next couple of months you will see a little bit more, and then more of content enrichment on our app itself. We are adding on a few more things. This is already version 2, coming to version 3 in terms of Colony app. And on top of it is our AFFINBANK internet banking will be going mobile soon. So finalizing at the last stage right now. So these are the interesting things we are moving on. I think more important, especially this kind of time, I think our
Oops, we lost you. We lost Mr. KY.
the need to go into a little bit more financial inclusion is still a priority. So that is one of those on top of our head. Whatever we do, financial inclusion is still a key topic to what we want to do. Okay.
All right, thank you. And Samantha, your take.
Okay. I think going forward, we would like to continue to, of course, provide the support and the facilitation to help SMEs to, in the short term, basically to get out of this predicament, so to speak. So I think that's why we do a lot of webinars or even sharing sessions with organizations like bankers and also other from the trade facilitation side or orders, which I said earlier is actually the most crucial. We basically try to see how we can match our SMEs with potential buyers. This is where, like recently, information dissemination, like there was some even technology matching programs like from Malaysia, Taiwan. So we try to provide this kind of information through the digital platform and provide such things to the SMEs. Hopefully they'll be able to leverage on such information and capitalize on it. And also we have partnered with this ITAP in Singapore. They are having industrial transformation program, workshop kind of thing. So this is where for the SMEs, they can actually upgrade, improve their knowledge and also capabilities and capacities by learning in terms of improvements in manufacturing or production. So be it retail, production, our role is to try to see how we can help them to improve their resilience in times like this, and hopefully then to be able to embark further on the digitalisation journey. And I think those will be the parting words.
Powerful. The keyword was resilience. Powerful. Thank you so much for that. Tuan Firdaus.
Okay, I think moving forward, the most critical thing that we can do to help everybody is the continual guidance that we can give everyone. I think we can put money into people's hands, we can open up markets, but at the end of the day, a lot of people needs to be guided, especially the micro entrepreneurs. So what we will continue to do at InScan is we'll continue to enhance our guidance programs, our coaching programs. I would strongly urge everybody to follow our FB InScan official. Get quick updates on our industry-based coaching programs and our general coaching programs. We are also about to embark on a special program with a data company whereby we would like to help entrepreneurs to make some key business decisions guided by data. I think the word pivot is being thrown around a lot right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, pivot this, pivot that. But the scary part about pivoting is when people pivot without market data. That's
Yes,
scary.
very
Uh,
true.
yeah, because the word pivot is modern enough, but when you pivot the wrong way, right, you end up going down a very long slope. So
True.
yeah, so stay tuned for a program that we're going to introduce quite soon also, whereby we're going to help people to do some pivoting and do some market surveys and market checks with the assistance of a data program. And I think in 2021, we're about ready to roll out a new suite of training programs on product development, because I think the sweet spot in entrepreneurship in Malaysia is actually product development. All these years, right, we've been training entrepreneurs. Okay, I think we need to do more in terms of helping the products to graduate better into the market. Sometimes, right, when we train entrepreneurs, right, we don't see the training go into the product. That's a bit scary.
Mm.
And I think, right, especially now during COVID, your champion is still your product,
Yep, yep.
right?
So it's time to execute.
Time to
Yeah,
execute.
time to execute.
There's another phase called COVID free. I don't,
Yeah,
that's
we look
another
forward to
scary.
it.
Yeah, look
Yeah,
forward. Yeah,
there's been people who ask me, Firdaus, tell me what's a COVID-free business. I said, I don't know, lah. Maybe water, lah. You know,
Powerful, powerful
that's
sharing, guys.
yeah.
Very powerful sharing. We are towards the end of the session, and maybe last few words that you guys a word of advice to our entrepreneurs out there who is at the beginning of a new phase now. And it's not that a beginning new phase; it's a beginning of a beginning new phase. There are also many faces coming to our way. So any advice from the three of you, and do share how they can best come and connect with you to get more information and get more support from your good self.
Let me just kickstart a quick 2 sentence. I think the important is to seek help, whether physically or digitally, or even through webinar as such. I think that's important. There's no way you and I can know everything. For that matter, the entrepreneurs are generally referring to. So go and seek help, ask for it. No harm getting a little bit more info and dissect yourself. Of course, from AFFINBANK point of view, I'm glad that this session is on, and more than happy to receive any feedback. And thank you, Firdaus, and you and Shireen yourself to collectively to make this a success. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr.
You?
KY.
yeah. I think three short words. It's lonely out there. Scan the environment and get support. And if you need to reach out, you can connect with us on our Facebook page or email us at info@samantha.org.my. Yeah, so those will be my parting words.
Thank you, Mr. Yeo. Tuan Firdaus.
Okay, I just want to plug in a program that we have. We have what's called an e-biz clinic program. It's free. You just register, you fill up a Google form on our website, and then you just tell us what roughly is your problem. We'll get somebody to call you back. And just like KY said, we get somebody to call you back, have a chat with you. A dedicated person, one-on-one for 1 hour, is provided free by the government.
Wow, 1 hour.
Yep. So that you can, the counselor that we assign to you can listen to your problems and then give you some kind of guidance in terms of what you need to do. Like our friend from Samantha said, you're not alone. we want to reach out to everybody. So everybody likes free things, right? So this is a free program. Just register with us on our website, and I'll get somebody to call you back. And then from there also, right, it's also a good way for us to know what's going on down there with everybody. Because like I said, sometimes in times like this, right, good data is not that easy to find also, right? So hearing proper feedback from entrepreneurs is very valuable to all of us also.
Indeed, indeed.
Thank you so much, guys. So we've come towards the end. So all of you out there, do connect with this beautiful man, or not beautiful, like handsome, kacha, bergaya. A whole lot of sharing has been given out today. So we hope that you have benefited from our sharing. This is going to be on Affin Facebook. You can come back and revisit. Go ahead and share to as many entrepreneurs that you know, so they can also benefit from our sharing today. So thank you so much for spending the
Thank
time
you.
with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right,
Thank
right.
you.
Bye,
Bye.
Mr. Yu and
Bye.
Tuan Firdaus.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.